A very good day to all of you from Amit Kumar Mehta. Today we are going to discuss an important topic for your management process and organizational behavior paper, that is Unit 9, Leadership and Influence Process, the needs, the concepts and the theories behind leadership. Now the problem with leadership in today's date is that we have too many bosses and too few leaders. Too many bosses meaning too many managers. We have good managers who can manage the entire show without the leader being there, but the problem is leadership. Why leadership is important? Because leadership takes you places. If you find out any good company, you will find that the leadership role, the senior people role is very, very essential in the company achieving new milestones, in the company achieving profitable numbers and reaching new heights in the particular growth path. Otherwise, without leaders, the managers cannot run the show all the time. There is a leadership crunch in the entire industry, in the entire world, and people and the companies and the society and the governments need many more leaders. Problem is, most of our education is creating good managers, but it is not creating good leaders. So it becomes very, very essential for you as a manager, as a student, to understand what are those theories, what are those concepts around in and around leadership that you need to know, so that you can also become a good leader and contribute to the society, to the government and to the company where you are working for. And trust me, once you become a good leader, you will definitely be valued and you will be your price will increase in the market, your quoting price will increase in the market. So this particular chapter is very, very important for all you budding managers. Now, Brian Tracy says that true test of leadership is how will you function in a crisis. Managers can manage the show when everything is going right, but as soon as a crisis hits, you require leadership to run the show. Only then you'll understand the importance of leadership, that the company cannot be run without good leaders. Managers cannot run well a company in a crisis. Now, a leader is somebody who knows the way, goes the way and shows the way, is what John C. Maxwell has to say. This leader has already been there, done that, and he knows all the particular essential things that require to make the company great. And therefore, he's very, very essential. He's indispensable to the success of the particular company. Now, before we understand and before we go into what a leader is, what a manager is, we have to understand the difference between these two people. Now, Jack Welch beautifully summed it up. He said that before you are a leader, when you are a manager, before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you are a manager, success is all about growing yourself. But as soon as you become a leader, success is about growing others. When you are growing others, it is then you have become a leader. Now, it is important that we understand at the beginning of this particular chapter on leadership theories the key differences between a leader and a manager. A leader has vision. A leader sells vision. He thinks 10 years hence. He thinks about 25 years in the future. What is going to happen? What is the new technology that is coming up? What is the new growth opportunities in the particular sector or the industry that we are working in? And he sells his vision to everybody. He sells convincingly whatever his vision is to the entire company and to the entire employee set. He thinks long term. He's more democratic in nature, the leader, and he includes everyone in his decisions. He wants maximum participation from all the employees, and only when maximum participation is there, everybody will participate and work towards the vision that he is seeing. He has the enabler role. He empowers people. The leader empowers people. He develops people. He challenges them. He makes them grow. He innovates and helps the company innovate and introduce new innovative methods of production or growth. He motivates and inspires trust inside of people, and he is more risk taking. He takes risks. Those are calculated risks, but he takes risks because without risk you will not get the right amount of growth. Also, he focuses on the top line. He is interested in creating more leaders who can manage the show even when he is not there inside the company. So these are some of the key differences that you will find between the focus of a manager and the focus of a leader. Apart from that, the need for leadership is because it boosts the morale of the employees, it facilitates change, it increases the rate of change, it improves the team spirit, it improves the productivity of the companies, and it improves the job satisfaction. All in all, a leadership leaders are indispensable inside of companies because they mean growth, they mean business, they mean profits, and therefore leadership is very, very essential. Now, what are the key leadership theories? If you look at it, it has evolved. The leadership theories have evolved over time. If you look at the theories we had 100 years back or 200 years back, those theories have now changed. A lot of research has happened. A lot of people have contributed. There are management schools, there are leadership schools which have contributed and researched leadership like anything, and they want more and more leaderships to be coming from the manager profiles. Therefore, a lot of evolution has taken over time. Starting from the great man theory of the 1840s, it is not mentioned on this particular slide. 1840s, we had the great man theory. Then we had the trait theory in the 1950s, 1930s, behavioral theories in the 1950s, 1960s. Then we had the situational theory or the contingency model in the 1970s, and 1980s, 1990s we had the transformational theory. We'll be just trying to touch upon each of these theories in the quickest possible time, and we'll try to do it so that you understand how the evolution over time has taken place for all these theories. So we have discussed all these theories. Trait theory basis on the characteristics of the individual. Then we have various behavioral theories. 1950s, 1960s, the research was done at University of Iowa. It was done at University of Michigan. Ohio State University also did some research, and there were various theories that were formed. Then in the 1970s, we had the situational theories or the contingency model given by Fiedler. And then in the 1980s, 1990s, we had the transformational theories or the transactional theories. So these are the various theories that we'll be discussing in the next few slides. Now, starting with the great man theory. This is a theory that was the oldest theory on leadership that is available. It states that the best leaders are not made, they are born. You are born a leader, otherwise you cannot become a leader in your lifetime. If you are not born a leader, you cannot become a leader in your lifetime. The great man theory was adopted at that time because leadership was reserved for males, particularly in military leadership. Examples would be Gandhi, Lincoln, and Napoleon. These people rose to glory because they were born leaders. That was the theory all about, that you have to be born a particular leader, and only then you can be a leader. There is no process of becoming a leader over a certain period of time by learning. That was the oldest theory on leadership. They used to believe that one day a great leader will be born. It will be a man. You have to understand, it will not be a woman, it will be a man, and he will save us all. That was the theory in the 1840s. 150, 200 years back, this was the theory. Now, what are the key concepts in this particular theory? It says that leaders have charisma. Charisma is a Greek word meaning gift. So these people are gifted. They have been gifted by God so that they become good leaders, and they will always be male. So any particular religion, any particular politics, military, social movements and government used to believe that these gifted leaders, these inborn leaders, these charismatic leaders will solve the crisis for the world. So that was the theory then. The negatives of this particular theory was that leadership cannot be developed inside of organizations. That was a belief. They said that leadership cannot be learned inside of the companies. And this particular concept will not work in every situation. You will not find, there will be a lot of problem. If it is leadership is totally dependent upon God, if they are born, that means God has developed them as leaders, then you will not be able to find good amount of leaders in different kinds of situation, and the world will go into a mess if you kept on believing in this particular theory. And therefore they changed to the traits theory, the traits theory of leadership. They said that some of the managers, some of the people inside of companies you will find have more creativity, are better competent, are trustworthy, have intelligence, have people skills and decisiveness. There are some traits inside of an individual which make him a better leader, a better manager. And then we started moving into the traits theory, which was very similar, kind of similar to the great man theory, but there were some differences over here. We'll just be looking at the differences over here. Trait theory focuses on the physiological attributes, that somebody might be good in appearance, somebody weight ratio, height ratio would be good. They might be from a good education background, they might be having a right age, the wisdom age, and their family background might be good, and because of which These are some of the traits that they might be having, and because of this they can be better able to manage companies. This was the trait theory of the 1930s. Now, what are the various key traits that you can find in a good leader? At that point of time, these were the key traits. If somebody had these particular traits inside of him or her, they were considered good leaders. The first one was knowledge of the business. They should be having immense amount of knowledge about the business. They should be having the initiative to start that particular process. They should have the tenacity in all the difficult situation. They should keep on walking. They should have energy. They should have decision making skills. They should have flexibility. They should have creativity, charisma, emotional intelligence, drive, motivation, confidence, honesty and integrity. So these are some of the traits which if a person had at that point of time, they were considered good leaders. Now, there are various limitations of this particular theory. The first limitation being that leaders may have traits, but they may not behave accordingly. Many of the leaders may have the trait, they might be honest, but maybe they are not behaving honestly. So, what do you do about that? So, this theory did not address that particular, traits theory did not address that particular problem. There was no accounting of the situations. Now, even if the person is having good traits, even if he's endowed with all the good qualities of a particular leader, all the good traits of a leader, the situation as such may be counterproductive. The situation may be odd, and because of that, the situation they might not be able to get the results. That was not accounted for. The leaders cannot be, in this case, be developed. They again said that leadership is based on traits, and therefore if you do not have the trait, those traits cannot be developed over your lifetime. Therefore you cannot become a leader. Leadership is not learnable. This is what this particular theory said. Last but not the least, they said that no single traits is fixed. So there was an overwhelming number of traits that a leader need to be having. It was kind of a checklist. You have 10, 15, 20 characteristics inside of a particular leader, and if those people do not have certain particular characteristics, they will not be considered a leader, a good leader. And that was a very overwhelming number of traits that we had to discuss, we had to understand, we had to find. And acknowledging and finding that particular leadership trait was also difficult. So these were various limitations, and because of these limitations, we moved on to the next level of theory, that was the behavioral theories on leadership. We'll be doing that in the next video, part 2 of this particular video. Thank you so much for watching this video till now.